Welcome to Entrepreneurship at Rowan, an official production of the award-winning Rowan Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We cover the entrepreneurial pulse of Rowan students, faculty, and alumni. Prepare to be Rowan proud.
Welcome to Season 2 of Entrepreneurship at Rowan. I'm your host, Joe Sokolowski. I want to know more about the flourishing entrepreneurial ecosystem in and around Rowan today. I'll be joined by a collection of professionals in the entrepreneurial investment space to hear their experience in the field and help you become a better entrepreneur. Today I'll be joined by Mark Trabbold, Senior Vice President of Ben Franklin Technology Partners. Ben Franklin is a leading tech investor in Pennsylvania that offers tremendous funding and mentorship opportunities for all startups all over the state. Thanks for being with us today, Mark.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Ben Franklin has been helping companies for almost 40 years now, I've seen. So could you kind of share some of the history that's made it so successful?
Ben's been around for 40. It started back in 1982 with the Thornburg administration when the governor looked around and noticed that Pennsylvania was losing out to other states when it came to high growth, high tech businesses, which also provided good revenue growth, good jobs. And then also investors would look to other states for these investments in these kinds of companies. And that was all bad for Pennsylvania. So he proposed something called the Advanced Technology Centers of the Ben Franklin Partnership. And he got $1 million to start this thing to establish 4 centers across Pennsylvania. Our office is in the Navy Yard in Philly. There's one in Lehigh, there's one at State College, and there's one in Pittsburgh. So I can't imagine how far $1 million went back in 1982, but nowadays we do around $10 million in 30 to 40 companies every year. So, and that's just our Navy Yard office.
Oh, wow.
So things have grown a lot since then.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, too, you guys have more offices now. It's not just those 4.
We only have those 4. We do have some satellite locations
right.
where you might find us out in the suburbs somewhere, but we do try to spread ourselves around.
I see that Ben Franklin is also primarily concerned with investing in tech companies. Could you kind of maybe speak about what about that space has been so captivating for the organization?
Yeah, so tech companies, like I said, they tend to bring better jobs, better paying jobs, much more interesting jobs, of course, high growth companies. And we invest in 3 sectors. We have what we call our IT sector, which tends to do mobile platforms, software development, apps, that type of thing. We have our healthcare investments, which will do medical devices, diagnostic equipment, digital health. And then we have our advanced manufacturing or physical product type companies. Anybody who has any kind of a physical product that's not associated with healthcare, we invest in those companies. In addition to that, we're looking to drive diversity, equity, and inclusion in all the investments that we do, as well as the social impact. These investments that we do are not just financially driven. You have to have financial returns to survive, but we're also looking for companies that will provide some kind of an economic impact, social impact, health, education,
sure,
just some way to improve lives. And when you add that all up, that becomes kind of a very exciting environment and exciting space to work in and to invest in.
Yeah, I believe it. Now, when you guys invest in these companies, do you go about it as your individual sector there? Like you said, there's the 4 groups, or do you guys work together when investing?
So I think if I understand your question, when we do our investments, we are limited to investing only in companies within our geography.
Okay.
So there are 4 offices. There are 4 then regions or geographies throughout the state. Again, our office at the Navy Yard covers the 5 counties around Philadelphia. So Philadelphia, Chester, Bucks, Montgomery, and Delaware County.
Okay.
Anything outside of that will require a handoff.
Well, thank you for clarifying that for me. Our audience is primarily the Rowan entrepreneurship community, and many of them have an interest in starting or scaling their own new ventures. What kind of investments does Ben Franklin look to make?
So that's a good segue into what I just was talking about as far as geography goes, because as we know, Rowan's located in New Jersey.
Yes.
And while I can see New Jersey across the river from my office, I'm not allowed to do any investing in New Jersey. But that doesn't mean we can't have conversation with companies in New Jersey. We're happy to talk to them many times, especially along the river close by. Companies are willing to cross the river and set up shop in Philadelphia or in one of the other counties to take advantage of the resources that we have. But I'll start by saying there are 4 must-meet criteria for a BEN investment. The one is to be located within our geography. Another one, that business has to be a registered for-profit business. There has to be some kind of a novel technology differentiation. And then finally, the company has to be actively raising money. We're never lead investors in a company. We will participate in a round. And our average investment is typically between $150,000 and $250,000 for a first investment. But companies, as they progress, they're able to continue to come back to us until they reach a lifetime limit of $1 million.
Wow. I feel like that's a very unique attribute in that space. Not a lot of companies or groups are doing that.
No, I mean, Ben Franklin is very unique. One of the things that makes us unique is we are a nonprofit investor. That's pretty much unheard of. So, and we have a continuum of investment, and it starts with the conversation. We consider that part of the investment. In order to do an investment in 30 or 40 or 50 companies in a year, we have to see 400 or 500 companies in a year. So we're having a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, making a lot of good connections, contacts with other people, other companies. It's all very valuable. But as I was saying, the investment starts with a conversation, and then we continue to put more and more money in as a company grows, as they do better. Yeah,
I think what you're saying too speaks to the entrepreneurial engagement in this area too. If you're screening that many companies every year, I think that says something about the Philadelphia region.
Yeah, Philadelphia is becoming better known as an entrepreneurial or a startup region. There was a study released last year, and I can't remember the actual numbers right now, but Philadelphia jumped like 15 spaces. This is a global study on, just a kind of a good place to start a business. And Philadelphia jumped 15 spots to be in the top. Wow. I forget the top level in the world. So Philadelphia is doing well.
I also noticed too that Ben Franklin, although they do invest in startups, they're also really about investing in companies that have already been established and even offering a lot of other services. Could you maybe speak about some of those other services that you offer?
We do have capital resources, which I talked about briefly, but we have non-capital resources as well. So when I talk about this continuum of investment, starts with a conversation, then we have a small grant program where companies can receive a $5,000 to $10,000 grant to do prototyping. We call this FabNet. There are two programs that are making products that are not health related. CREMA is for companies that are in the health space and they're developing their prototypes. So there's a $5,000 to $10,000 grant program there. After that, we have something called a TAF investment, which stands for Technology Acceleration Fund. So these are investments up to $50,000 that will give companies a little bit of money once they kind of have the wheels turning and they're getting some business, some customers, some revenue. We want to put some money in to help accelerate that. And then ultimately, as I said, our core investments are on the order of 150 to 250. Companies will then come back for another 300, maybe another 400 until they hit $1 million. And then finally, a couple of years ago, Ben Franklin raised a fund called the Go Philly Fund, which is we actually had to go out and find investors to put money into this fund. We raised $25 million, and that allows us to put another $1 to $3 million into the companies that we consider our high performers. In the past, we noticed that the companies, as they were hitting that $1 million limit, they needed more money. And we would put all this effort into helping these companies grow and create jobs. And when they couldn't find money, they go to New York, they go to Silicon Valley, and they end up leaving, taking all the jobs and all that revenue with them. So we were able to raise this fund, and now we can invest another $1 to $3 million and keep those companies here a little longer.
Have you seen that pay off yet, or is it too early to tell?
So actually, we've done out of that 25 million, we've done, 8 or 10 investments, again, larger scale investments, and we've already had a couple exits.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's really working out well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's glad to hear.
Yeah.
Looking to the future, is there anything exciting going on at Ben Franklin?
So one of the things I love about my job is there's always something exciting coming to Ben in the future. When we're having these conversations with businesses, we're having these 400 to 500 meetings. They're not just people with ideas, they're actual businesses. They're also all the faculty and the graduate students and all the work coming out of universities like Rowan and like the other universities in Philly. So we're looking at all this new technology, robots, drones, AI, cyber platforms, medical devices, implantables, wearables. This is all cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's what's new and coming down the pike to Ben every day. But one specific thing, more programmatic for Ben that's new, and it's coming within the next year. You asked about locations and satellite offices. Well, there's a place at 41st and Market called University Place Associates 3.0. It's under construction right now. It's an 8-story building. One of the floors of that building will be called the Innovation Floor, and Ben Franklin's going to run that building. So we're going to be doing all the programming, workshops, seminars. There's going to be incubation space. It's going to be a beehive of activity in that University City corridor, and we'll be right in the middle of it. So that's exciting. That's new. That's coming down.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. Sounds like you could get a lot of exciting things to come from that in itself. So yeah, wish you luck with that. And going to, like you said, with all the new technology, you wouldn't expect it in Philadelphia. I saw you guys had invested in a company that they make these water fans for marine aquariums. I don't know if it was your group directly, but I personally looked at it because I used to be into marine aquariums. But like you're saying, it's just so many unique technology innovations and advancements. It's really nice to see that happening here and not just in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Philadelphia is kind of known for life sciences. There is a kind of a concentration of life science businesses or healthcare businesses in this area. But even though there's a concentration there are a tremendous number of other tech companies in the area. And it's like I said, I never know what I'm going to see from one day to the next. There are some incredible technologies being developed out there and commercialized. And we get a front row seat for that. Yeah,
that's so cool. All right. So I guess to wrap things up here, could you offer any information on how maybe the Rowan community could apply and where they can get more information about you guys? Yeah, well, our website is a good place to go to learn more about Ben and to find all of our emails are on there. You can get my contact information right from our website. I can give you my email address. It's mark.trabbold at sep.benfranklin.org. Wow, look at that plug. Too long and too much for this. So that's why I say just look for the Ben Franklin website. All of our contact information is there. There's a place there to apply to register to get more contact information. And I can't stress enough the importance of having that initial conversation with investors. Sometimes people think that they're not ready yet. They need to have all their ducks in a row. That may be true for some venture capitalists. We are a much more friendly investor. We want to have the conversation. We want to help companies prepare for investment. And that way, when they do finally get ready for investment, we're there. We can pull the trigger quickly and get them in the process. Well, Mark, thank you so much for talking to us today and telling us a little bit about Ben Franklin. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Rowan is proud to be an official knowledge hub of the International Council for Small Business. Our AACSB award-winning entrepreneurship programs challenge students to solve real problems in bold and impactful ways. If you're interested in supporting entrepreneurship at Rowan or want to get more involved by hiring an intern, speaking to a class, or being featured as a case study, contact us at rcie@rowan.edu.